Yeah, 5-9 to 6-9. I'm not entirely sure where because it's being weird today. We are heading to Battlefield of Eternity for our map. Now it's saying 8. Good lord.
I went down to 6.3. Should be fine.
Okay, I'll attempt to get to you.
All right.
6-2. That'll do.
Battlefield of Eternity is a very interesting one. We haven't seen that battleground all day. Up to this point, we had a lot of Sky Temple today, so I'm glad for a little bit of a change in pace in Battleground.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
This could be, I was going to say, this could be a good pick for RPG, because although their macro play is a little weak, to say the least, their team fighting, I think, looks oftentimes very great. So going for a small map, where you normally can't be out-rotated that much, could very much cater towards their battle plan. Now, are they going to use Medivh again? As one of the teams in China that has been relying the most on Medivh in most of their games, that could be a worthy first ban if KT did their homework. Or maybe if they're not afraid of it, you know, they're just going to play against it, because KT Tetra, they played so well against Medivhs in the past with Lunara and the Zeratul.
That's an excellent point, yeah. So perhaps we could see the... wait, I thought it was Sunny Lion who did the Lunara.
No, that was KT. That was Hope for KT.
Fair enough. I would love to look up KT stats, but they're still bugged on the website I'm attempting to use, so I can't see any of them. That's fantastic. RPG, on the other hand, like you said, the Medivh, pretty good for them. They've used it 4 times this season. 50% win rate either way, but it's still pretty good for them.
Yeah, and it looks like none of the teams wants to go up against one of those top 2, top-tier, big, chunky warriors, Diablo or Garrosh. Very heavy focus on tanks in this draft already. That, of course, leaves a couple of heroes open, like the strong supports, Malafry and Stukov, like the Medivh, if any of the team desires to play with it. Oftentimes on Battlefield of Eternity, we see a couple of crazy portal plays, but once again, the Greymane being prioritized so heavily. That is the second time we see this phenomenon happen, and in last series, it didn't do so well for SOA, unfortunately.
That's true, but Greymane and Hanzo are easily the most picked assassins by RPG, closely followed by, I believe, Tychus, if I had to guess.
And they're good on this map, too.
They are indeed, so it's not too surprising to see Greymane removed. Hanzo will be picked up almost certainly by RPG in this rotation.
Yeah, it needs to be, in my opinion. If you want to make sure that you can match the racing potential at an Immortal of Greymane, then Hanzo, of course, with the increased PvE damage, a scattering arrow build is going to be of the utmost importance. Let's see if RPG is willing to go that route, or if they're like, you know what, we're not going to fear the racing potential. We're actually going to risk giving you both Hanzo and Greymane, because we go for Cassia. And that seems to be their go-to choice up to this point.
I mean, but why, though? They've played Cassia once, they have lost with Cassia. They had Hanzo available. Give it to Sar. He would have been fine. It's better than putting Sar on like a Zeratul, or like he's been playing recently, because he's not been having successes on that, whereas Chicken has. So just stick him on the Hanzo, get that deflect damage. Just protect from the burst using that variant and another tank. I don't understand.
The thing is, Cassia, of course, does have pretty strong auto attack damage. She could be a solid pick when it comes to racing, but she's still nowhere near the racing speed of someone like Hanzo. So, true, she's also a little bit more resilient when it comes to sustaining or withstanding those Greymane Doggo Worgen attacks. She's also not too terrible against Hanzo, especially if she goes for the Thunderstroke build, which allows her to keep more distance. But instead of punishing the Cassia pick right off the get-go, KT is trying to hide the remaining assassin picks by picking a support and picking a main tank.
RPG banned out the Zeratul. No picks today on Zeratul, but he has been banned pretty consistently throughout the entire day. But that is interesting. I expected that to be something for them. So I expect this Cassia is actually likely going to be Sar, if I had to guess. It could still be Chicken, but Sar is what I lean towards here.
Yeah, Sar, of course, is a player in general that we need to be looking at more closely. Yesterday, he was getting a little bit of flack from me. You know, I was calling him out because he didn't really have the best of his days. And in fact, he hasn't been impressing me over the last few weeks, oftentimes being more of a liability, in my personal humble opinion, than an asset. So I really want Sar to show what he's got, to prove me wrong, to basically prove to me and everyone else out there that he belongs in the upper echelons of assassins. And remember when he was support player for RPG, he was doing so well,
Yeah.
He was actually picked up by other teams as a substitute.
Yeah, by BTG at BlizzCon, in fact. But that success has not continued. The role swap has cancelled that out a little bit here. Also, someone pointing out here that Cassia is already hard countered by the fact that Greymane is wearing sunglasses. As we do wait to see the next pick for RPG. They have a tank, they have an assassin. They need support. With Malfurion banned out, they're likely going to drop back to something like an Uther. This seems to be a very much a preference for MJ.
Can you imagine, Tetcher, if Blizzard decided to give special buffs and weaknesses to certain skins, depending on what they're wearing? So the sunglasses skin would be immune to blinds.
Well, just quickly, double Protoss coming in here with
Double
extra
blinds?
blinds for the Cassia. They're kind of all in on this. Both of these heroes are pretty decent on this map. But I'm pretty sure a different game actually did that, and it was heavily criticized for it, for good reason. But it was a fun idea.
All right. So yeah, double Protoss being locked in for RPG, and we see a potential blind synergy between Cassia and Artanis if he goes for suppression pulse, which is very, very likely. Now, the ideal way of RPG laying or designing those team fights, right? Artanis goes in, drops down these suppression poles, and lightning ball or ball of lightning for Cassia as a follow-up is then going to deal absolute terrible damage onto everyone affected by it on the side of KT. So that is the ideal scenario. Let's see if they're going to go for it. They still have to pick their support, by the way, and there are a couple of supports that have blinding, especially one of them is an innocent-looking little Pandaren girl.
No, there are four, sorry. There are four supports that currently have blinds. But yeah, I quite like the idea of, as we see Arthas and Li Ming, I quite like the idea of Artanis flip into Valkyrie or vice versa. That sounds fun to me, but yeah, so supports that have blinds, let's list them off here. Lucio has a blinding knockback. Anna has a blinding dart. Doesn't have it anymore? Fair enough, then not Lucio. Ariel has a blinding sweep.
True.
Anna has a blinding dart. And Lily is blinding in general.
Ariel. When did we see that hero for the last time in competitive play?
With
Cassia, she was buffed recently.
With a double support with Karazim used by leftovers the last time I saw it, but I think it happened since, and I just didn't watch the game.
Let's see. You know what? I actually wouldn't hate it. I think... Oh, they go for Morales. That is a very bold call against a double frontliner. One of them could jump on you. Greymane, basically double burst as well. That is going to be so interesting to watch.
This is the first Morales picked by RPG this season, and I'm now going to check if it's the first Morales picked in HGC China this season. I don't think it is. I'm for some reason thinking I've seen one before.
So there are certain conditions in which I like the Morales above many other supports. That could be Brax's holdout game when Malfurion and Sukov are not available. She's a great sustain healer in lane, but she's very susceptible to getting flanked. She's very susceptible to burst damage. And that's exactly what KT has. We're not playing on Braxis, we're playing on Battlefield, where there's many angles. A Murden could jump in, and Arthas could land a Howling Blast from. And then with Li Ming, the burstiest of mages, under the right circumstances, and Greymane, things could look a little dire if Varian also isn't really... Like Varian Artanis, those are very engagey warriors themselves. They're not necessarily known for providing a lot of peel for Morales in the backline, right? Yeah. So I'm starting to get a little worried here for RPG. However, as you said, if they manage to use their offensive tools first, and if they put the pressure on KT, they can actually get some pretty decent kills themselves with a lot of damage from Artanis, Cassia, and Alarak.
Morales was in fact played once. It was this season on Brax's holdout by Sunny Lion, and they lost. So, no, sorry, that was last phase playoffs was the last time we saw a Morales in HGC China.
For now, though, we're going to focus on Lieutenant Morales again. First time played by RPG on Battlefield of Eternity. We're going to introduce the players once more. RPG represented by Chicken on the Artanis. MJ plays Morales. Sa is on the Cassia. C is playing Varian, and Timeless, the master himself, on the Artanis.
And on the right-hand side, it is going to be Kudo's top, with Hope playing Li Ming, Kaito on Muradin, TWT on the Stukov, Lycia is on Arthas, and Zizm bringing out the Greymane.
Alrighty then. let's take a look at the core racing potential. Cassia already making the first right step, in my personal opinion. We see the Thunderstroke, no charged strikes, so she's going to be able to keep a little bit of distance from Arthas, who could lock her down otherwise so easily. The Muradin as well. I had to refresh here.
Me too. I am on 3. There we go. That's not happening.
Currently sitting at 6.5, something along those lines. Should be worked out.
I can get to that. 6.5. Boom. Done. So
nailed it.
As we see the teams heading into the lane, it's going to be Artanis in the solo lane.
You know what? We're just going to leave that mini circle because I think you had another one as well. So we're just going to leave it at that. And with the power of lags, we should be lagging in perfect synchrony, and we should be fine.
Oh, yes, now I am. 8-ish, probably.
You know what? I'm just going to leave my latency window up for a little bit here. I'm sitting at 9.6.
8 exactly.
That doesn't work out, so we shall refresh.
Yeah,
7.4.
6. 5.
Not a whole lot is happening in the meantime anyways. You know, it's just a standard opening for BOE. Both teams are laning. I'm going to do another refresh. I'm getting all the way up to 8.
Can I say this is that we have the best first world problem, that this is the worst part of our job?
Yes.
As we 5.6 seems to be consistent.
There we go. That'll do. That'll do. Muradin in trouble.
Muradin able to pull back. Not in that much trouble. All is good, at least for the moment. So, as the lanes begin to stabilize a little bit more, with Greymane continuing to help push in on the Artanis. You can see the extra aggressive pushing while Alarak is moving up to the top lane. See if he can get any kind of counter kill, or at least get a kill.
Yeah. Morales, by the way, going for the emergency protocol, I think it is called, at level 1, which basically causes her W to generate loads of energy. The more damage the target protected actually receives. So that is going to be very useful in lane. Let's see if she can actually...
Wrong name, but it's called Life Support.
Life Support, there we go.
Yes, so you got it right, but names are hard. That is 100% forgiven here, as we also saw Greymane able to retreat after a lovely Artanis flip.
And there we go. We can see the life support coming in onto Sa, who was about to get focused anyways, providing a little bit of extra energy for Morales. Energy is, of course, the name of the game when you play Morales. As an experienced Morales player myself, yes, I will admit that, when you're running out of energy, it is so important to keep your allies notified and aware that you can no longer heal them. So now, actually, MJ, trying to be the good Samaritan, trying to save Varian, dies for his positioning, though, and Timeless might actually get caught as well, because Arthas is a sticky hero. You can't run away from him like that. And with such, the Varian being out of position baited 2 of his allies into misery and demise, and that is going to be a free halftime show for KT.
I think you're really ahead. I think I'm really ahead of you again.
Yes, I shall fix that.
Yeah, 5-4 for me. 5-5. 5-4, 5-5.
That should do it.
Cool. So,
yeah.
Burst of light coming in for Cassia, removing a little bit of that vulnerability to Greymane and Muradin, especially when Muradin drops stuns post-raid. Taunt onto Muradin, trying to turn around into him. There's the blind, then, and another blind. Consistent blind coming in here from the Stormbolt. Huge damage. Is it enough? No, the blind prevents any javelins, which means the kill does not land. So far, the Immortal's still alive as well, as Arthas is taken out. RPG. They're looking for kills everywhere, missing several, but picking up others.
Yeah, and actually them finding kills on Warriors, actually bringing down Muradin to 1 HP, which forced him to run away. And then collapsing on Arthas, the tankiest targets available for KT is quite admirable. Now here goes the taunt, here goes the silence onto Greymane. Is Sism going to be able to survive this?
He's out. He's escaped. Moving back to the rest of his team. As we see Alarak with the level 4 talent, which I think is called Show of Force. I don't see it very often. It is the, if you hit 3 of Alarak's abilities within 2 seconds, and the target takes an extra 77 damage. So it's pretty decent if you get your full combo off.
Yeah. Speaking of full combos, we're not going to see a full Immortal anytime soon. Sa caught a little bit out of position. Is Mommy Morales going to be able to take care of him? No, she's not, because the anticipating silence by TWT was too good. And here comes the collapse onto Morales. She's using the cellular reactor at level 4, the cell field, by sacrificing energy. But even that won't be able to keep her alive.
The Immortal moves into the bot lane. The rest of KT rotates down to assist it. They're going to go for an aggressive push. Despite the kills from RPG becoming a little bit earlier in that middle lane, they weren't able to capitalize, and now they move in for the defense. Timeless arriving first.
Yeah, and the RPG, they're struggling. Not only did they lose more members already, 1-4 is the kill score against them, but also they're taking tremendous damage in that bottom lane. Varian, he is not the main tank you need in those situations. He's not a Johanna, he's not an Arthas, not a Muradin. He just can't really initiate there. He's going to get locked down and already taken down so hard, and already that first fort in the bottom lane is going to fall as well. Now, mind you, of course, there are a couple of significant power spikes for RPG, especially level 10, when we see the blinding synergy between Artanis and Cassia potentially. But up to this point, you can already say that KT's draft and the way they pick their heroes very smartly, especially that Arthas, it really paid off, keeping all those melee heroes under control.
That it did. Looked pretty good, at least for the beginning here. As we see the extra pressure. Did you just drop something?
That was totally me not dropping anything.
Okay, as we see the follow-through coming in for Artanis. I don't know if I came across a mic for you guys, but I'm just talking and then I hear clunk in the background from Kendrick's
I'm pretty
side.
sure they could hear that too.
Excellent. As we see the extra pressure just being dropped. Mercenary Cap stolen away by KT. This will be used to add pressure to top lane. With one fort already down, they're looking to at least weaken up a second, seeing if they can get 2 Immortals in a row.
Just to make sure, what is your current latency, Tetcher?
I've literally just refreshed because I lagged. Oh, good kill onto Artanis. I am at 616.
That should do the trick.
Lines and huge silence onto Arthas, but the heals from Stukov just too good. No counter kill coming out unless they can get Kaitu, but Kaitu leaps to freedom. A route into a silence, Arthas Stukov, and everyone is staying alive. This fort took huge amounts of damage. And KT, they are looking good.
The best way to deal with a Varian is to never let him engage on anyone, instead putting him on the defense here, and that's exactly what's happening all the time right now. Morale is also getting hugely crippled by the Lurking Arm by Stukov 24/7. If you drop that Lurking Arm onto Morales, her healing beam is going to get intercepted, she can no longer heal, and she's actually going to have a, a mini delay onto the next healing beam, and that's exactly what happens here. We see her healing herself up to this, thanks to the cellular reactor. Is she going to be able to keep Sa alive? No, she's not. Level 10s are here, and KT is cleaning house.
Here comes Sa for the other side. MJ finally dropped down. Chicken was trying to delay, but can't do anything. Sa gets a little bit of extra damage off, but it will be taken down. Chicken is trying to sneak away. Enemy team's going to let him go. KT just taking out the fort instead.
Tetcher, you normally don't beat on a dead horse, but up to this point, KT heavily outdrafted RPG. It really seems to me like they have no countermeasures to the Arthas. He's just going in whenever he pleases to. There's no knockback, there's no percentage damage to really threaten him. All they can do is find a good angle themselves, maybe lock someone down with a Varian. Here comes the swap, the silence as well, but even that is not going to be enough to take down Muradin, because KT, not only are they scary with Arthas Muradin, but also are they tanky.
We see them move in via the rest of KT, looking for the kill onto the Varian here. The silence is good, but there's no route or stun to follow up.
Yeah, they need to defend this with everything they've got, though. I think if they let this go through, despite not being level 10, by the way, but if they let this go through uncontested, I think this is already going to be such a powerhouse of an Immortal. It's going to be deployed, I think, in the top lane, because both lanes should look relatively safe here. Chicken trying to use the warp to safety, and he's going to get caught using the Blade Dash now. But no one escapes the Frozen Tempest and the Damage of Hope. As such, another easy pickup.
Easy pickup indeed. As Artanis, he couldn't even get his shield back off cooldown. With that shield surge, might have been able to survive, but couldn't get there because of the extra movement speed slow and the attack speed slow of Arthas. Level 10 is hit. Ball Lightning, the deadly charge from Timeless. Let's see. Takes a wraparound route. Stormbolt does not land. Root does. And the Suppression Pulse Medivac coming in from Morales. This is a core all-in style. How are they going to do that if they haven't even killed the fort?
Yeah, maybe we're going to see some cheeky backdoor plays at some point, but the Deadly Charge is one of those heroic abilities that I like because it's all in, and that's exactly what they need to do. Missing the silence, though, against Stukov allows him to get the blading swipe off, and this is already looking like a very chaotic fight right now.
Zar dropped some pretty good damage onto Zizm here, but now C is alone. Disintegrate with the shield wall, but there they go for the boot. And Zizm moves through, looking for Zar. Has to move away because Zar drops crazy damage, but 1v4, he can't do it, and that's 2 kills going over to KT.
You know what? That fight actually started to look pretty okay for RPG when they were able to put some pressure on the Warriors, but Varian unfortunately was isolated and took so much damage that he couldn't really make up for it. And Morales wasn't also strong enough to keep him alive there for now. Cassio surviving a little bit longer, but when Li Ming pounces on you with an entire combo, there's nothing you can do. The teleport damage with Calamity, the life sustain she gets from the dominance as well is just too huge right now. Double silence, this is just a nail in the coffin, I think. Sa is getting healed from Morales to the best of her ability, but it's not going to be enough. They take down one after the other, reset after resets for Zizm and Hope, and they're just dismantling the ranks of RPG. No one left to tell the story, and that is going to be a clean 1-0 for KT with a 4-level lead. Outsmarted, outplayed, and all in all, outdrafted Tetra.
GG, well played by KT. They take game number 1 and put themselves one step closer to being uncatchable by